What's up, buddy?
Hey.
Good to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. Yeah, honestly, this is the first one I've ever hosted myself, so
Yeah?
I'm pumped to have you on. This is
Yeah,
gonna be
it's
awesome,
good to
man.
be here. I'm curious what we're going to talk about. I've got
Yeah,
no
childhood
idea.
trauma,
Yeah.
riding kangaroos, just the usual things.
Sounds
So it
good.
should be good. But dude, for people that don't know you, give a little bit backstory. Who are you?
Well, I'm Liam, also known as 7th.Era on the interwebs. Make photography content. Been pumping the Instagram recently. And yeah, I love doing travel, street photography. And then I'm also doing these yearly photo tours, which is how we met.
Yeah.
Doing the yearly photography tours where we're like really going into like a cultural area and like really wanting to capture that. So
Yeah.
yeah, doing
Dude, those
that.
were incredible. We're definitely going to dive into those 100%.
Yeah.
I'm pumped to talk about those. Probably a lot of people actually know you from back in the day. That's where I
YouTube days.
saw you first. You know, I didn't really like know you by name, but I like recognized your face from the YouTube days of
Yeah.
the photo battles. Dude, tell me about those, man, because I'm sure a lot of people are kind of curious. Like, they haven't really gone on, in a while, but what were those like shooting? How was it like? I assume that was kind of your first bit of fame or notoriety in things. So
Definitely.
what was that kind of experience like for you?
Yeah, well, like, first of all, like, rewinding a bit, the photo battle was like I guess you'd call like a series based on me, Mike, Hayden, and Lamont, like, doing, the photo battles. But we obviously all had our own separate YouTube channels. So that was like the big video that we all did. And that was just, we were just trying different video ideas. And back in the day, you just had to kind of see what did well. And then whatever you found that did well, you just kept doing more of it to grow your YouTube. And that was like what we were doing with the photo battles. But in terms of like my experience with it, is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, what was it like? Because it's cool to see from the outside the finished product.
Yeah.
But what was kind of the behind the scenes like? How was it working with the guys? What was the actual drama in the episodes? Did you ever win? I don't remember it.
hey, mate, dissing me in the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
No.
No,
but yeah.
definitely. So like, I guess I don't know what it's like from a viewer's perspective, but like from behind the scenes, we kind of all had like our little roles. Like, I know Mike would always like do some sort of pre-planning and get some like hectic photo shoot idea planned, and then we'd all find out afterwards. I don't know, Hayden, he would like definitely get more creative with it, and I would always just winging it. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm like, I can't be fucked planning this. I just want to like go out and like see what photos I get. And then just see what we end up with. But it's not how it looks in terms of, it looks like you're just going out and like doing photography. But when you're actually filming it, you're like focusing on, I've got to get this angle. I've got to make sure I've spoken enough. I've got to make sure that I've added like enough drama into it, while still making it, realistic about what we're actually doing.
Yeah, it almost wasn't even about the photo. It was because there's so much more that goes into it. I assume that you're kind of like, the photo is almost the afterthought. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got to get this photo, but I also have to do 20 other things at the same time. So it's probably hectic as can be. Do you have a specific episode you remember that was like your personal favorite, the one that like stuck out the most to you?
I feel like the one when I was in New York, like that one, because I like, obviously in a video you want as much drama as possible because that's just what creates, like, it's fun to watch. And I actually got into like a mini collision in a taxi in that episode. So like I was vlogging, and then our cab driver just like rear-ends some guy, and then I was vlogging and I was like, oh, like no, but in my head I'm like, yes, this is such good content. That was really fun. Also, like, just New York City, you get banger photos wherever you go. So yeah, but that was so long ago, man. That was like, what?
Dude, super long time ago.
Yeah.
It's interesting because obviously I did watch those. That was like back in the day. I wasn't even doing street photography or anything.
Yeah,
back
were
then.
you doing photography at all back then? Or?
Yeah, I was doing mostly portrait stuff and then like client work. So like working on like event stuff, more event shoots. But yeah, it was cool to always watch you guys. Always see you guys do those videos. Sad that they don't exist anymore. Do you guys think you'll ever come back together to
We'll see.
throw one more?
I think it'd be fun. We'll see what happens.
It would be cool. It would be cool. Dude, when did it switch from like when did photography switch from just being this like fun thing you do to like, oh, this is like me. This is my like actual profession, job, the thing I'm going to actually focus on in my life versus just being for fun?
Good question. I think I kind of got lucky in the sense that I did know from quite early on that like I want to, like, photography is for me. Like, this is what I'm going to be doing as a job. Like, I'm going to be spending my time every day doing this, probably from when I was like even like 17 years old, 18, because I got into photography when I was around 15. Like, I remember I took a photo of this sunset on my mum's iPhone, and I was like, this is like the coolest sunset I've just captured. Like, something that I saw, I just captured on a phone, and then I could edit the photos, and I was like, this is sick. So then I eventually got a camera from Santa, because my little sister still believed in Santa at the time. So
Well,
we had
that's
to
lucky.
we all had to pretend, and it was a camera from the family, but I was really the only one who used it. And I would like play around with doing long exposures and all that sort of stuff. Still 15, 16 years old, and then I started doing event photography, and then I was like, oh, I can kind of like make money doing photography. And like, if you've ever done event photography, you know you can charge like when you're 16, 17 years old, getting like $50 an hour is like amazing. Like, none of your friends are doing that. They're making like minimum wage at like McDonald's or something. So realizing that, oh, you can make money out of this, and then you have the creative side. I was like, yeah, I think I want to do this. So yeah.
How'd you separate the two? Because like it can be easy, I feel like, for photographers to kind of get sucked into the money making aspect and kind of lose the creativity. So how did you keep from that happening?
Yeah, I think because for so long I didn't make money off my creative stuff. That's the thing. I think it's like when you're making money off your like kind of like where your heart is at with photography. Like, for me, that's like street photography and like the really creative stuff. If you're trying to make money off of that, then it can kind of, you can get lost in that and lose your passion and stuff. But I think if you have two separate, like, you keep them separate. So it's like, for me, I was just doing event photos, and I was like, okay, this is not creative. Like, maybe a little bit with like long exposures if you want, but like, it's mainly just for work to fund me wanting to go on like these big trips that I wasn't making money off, but it was so much fun, and like I just kind of kept them separate.
Gotcha. So you like compartmentalize, like, this is just work, this is photography that I want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Gotcha.
was lucky to get like frequent jobs because my brother has a DJ business. So he would like, yeah, he'd be going to all these parties to DJs and like 18th, 21st birthday parties. And then I would be the photographer for them. So I would have consistent work from that. And then I could save up to do these photography trips. So
That's cool.
yeah, but yeah, you can definitely, I know a lot of photographers find that hard to differentiate. How did you go about it?
Yeah, honestly, I just stayed broke for a really long time. Like, I really didn't switch into doing, like, portrait photography was kind of my first like passion. Like, I just enjoy, and the reason is like I'm a little bit more introverted, and it took me a long time to get like more extroverted, like teach myself how to be more extroverted. And portrait photography was like this creative path that also allowed me to like interact with human beings, which I wasn't getting a lot of with like my job back then and other stuff. So like I was able to be creative. I was able to like socialize a bit more and like do things that I enjoyed doing. And so that was kind of like the first path down photography that I went, and I stayed on that path for a long time. And I actually mainly used it as a networking tool more than I used it as like a money making tool. I probably didn't make my first like really like what would you say, like regular amount of money coming in until maybe like 4 years ago,
Okay.
where I got hired on as maybe 5 years ago, where I got hired on as this guy's full-time travel videographer. And I traveled with him and I did videography for him. And then that was when it became sort of tough for me to stay creative and like make money at the same time. Like I was following him around shooting the content he wanted to shoot, and I wanted to create this, like I had my vision for what things were going to be like, and he had his vision, which was make money.
Yeah.
And my vision was like create amazing cinematic video content. And so it became difficult with that guy. And then I got hired on to another influencer guy where we did a lot of creative projects together. But he was like full control. He was final say as well. So there were times where I'd come up with really cool ideas and then it would just get axed. And so it became one of those things where I kind of felt the drive myself actually kind of melt away. And like I started not liking photography again. And that was when I quit. I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to work in this field anymore. So I quit that job and went and worked for my friend's company. And I completely pretty much got rid of working as a videographer and photographer. And I went back to just like creating for fun.
Okay.
And that's when kind of the brand started.
Yeah,
building up again.
is that when you started your Instagram?
Yeah, so
what,
then,
like a year ago?
literally, yeah. I started it about 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
But it didn't take off obviously until this year. But like all I would do on that page was just content that I wanted to create. And I knew eventually it would take off. It was just like me figuring out like who am I, what kind of creator am I, like what do I want to create for myself. But once I kind of figured that out, then things worked really well. So yeah, that's kind of it was cool.
You kind of like when you were doing it for the other guys, it was just like, you know what, I'm just using a camera to create things for them, but it's not necessarily like my creative
it sucks your soul a little bit. Like you're just like, oh, this is brutal. Like every day you wake up and you're like, man, I do not feel like I'm doing what I want to be doing. You know. So would you say that you're currently able to kind of mix the two, the money making and the creating what you want to create? Do you feel like those two things have started to align for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Like with Instagram, like because before I was kind of trying to do Instagram and YouTube and like I was spreading myself way too thin. And like I was ending up for my YouTube videos, which is why I've like stepped away from that for a little bit. It was taking up so much time with the editing. And I'm like, I've got to then go out and do more photography. I'm like so burnt out from like trying to edit a good vlog for YouTube. And then I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like I'm not actually enjoying any process. But yeah, the Instagram's a bit more fun because it's like less, not as high quality. So you can really just focus on, like, for example, we're in Japan right now. We can like go out, do some photography and not have to think, oh, am I filming enough content for a video? It's more just like, oh, I'll film a little thing on my iPhone and that's enough for Instagram. So I think by lowering the production quality of the BTS and the video side of things, I'm able to focus more on just enjoying the photo stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's one of the things that kept me away from YouTube is like, man, a whole video can take a week, start to finish, scripting it out, coming up with the shot, shooting it, editing it. Like, it's exhausting.
Yeah, you need a team, man. Like, and that's something, maybe in the future, if I find a good team who, like an editor, someone who can help with scripting and stuff. But like right now, I honestly have no idea how to like find a good team. But like, I think that is...
guys, if you're...
Yeah.
If you're an
editor.
watching.
Yeah. But like, yes, a team that you can work with and that like you click with, because that's important. I've hired editors before and it hasn't been like a team. They've just been an editor. So...
Makes sense.
I think that's something really important if you're wanting to keep the enjoyment side of things.
Yeah. No, 100%. Do you feel like right now you have do you have your own unique style in photography? Like, do you feel like that's something that you can say for yourself? Like, do you feel that your photography is unique and like it is you?
Well, I feel like I'm creating what I want to create.
Cool.
Definitely other people who do like similar stuff for sure. Like street, like travel stuff. And there's always going to be like similarities because there's so many photographers these days. But I think I think like the way to answer that question is, are you photographing what you truly want to be photographing? And then whatever the product of that is your true work. So I would say yes. Yeah.
What would you say if you could sum it up? What is it that you want to shoot? Like, what is that thing that's inside of you that is like, I want to go out and shoot that?
It's capturing like the true culture of a place. And like, that's why I loved going to Vietnam and India as well, because like in the West, things are like, they can be very boring and like people are just going to 9-to-5 jobs. The streets are just like boring, big buildings. Whereas like in India, Vietnam, it's almost like you're stepping back like 50 years into the past or even longer. And you get to like document people doing old traditions or just someone on the street like fixing a bike wheel with some like janky setup, and like all those like really cool little moments that you just don't really see every day. I think I really love capturing that. And with street photography, you can do that because it's just bang, quick shot, and then you keep moving. You're not, I know some other photographers like to interact with their subject and ask for a photo. And that's something that I know I've got a lot of comments about, like, hey, you can't take photos of people and this and that. But being able to capture the raw moment is what I love to do. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay, so then like compare and contrast a little bit, like India and let's say Japan. Like what is the biggest thing that like makes shooting in India so enjoyable? And like obviously Japan is enjoyable too, but it's missing that piece, I feel like, that you're talking about that makes India or Vietnam special.
Yeah.
What do you think is that like missing piece that's like not here? Because obviously Japan's incredible to shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful place. But I know exactly what you mean after we went to Vietnam. Like, and when I was just in Hong Kong, same thing. Like there is that it just feels like there's that piece that isn't quite there.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's something that I've been reflecting on. And I'm like, what is it? I think if I just think off the top of my head, the chaos. Like, but then again, there is chaos here as well. It's just a different kind. I think people.
I mean, I think most people would say that Japan chaos versus India chaos. Those are, I don't even think they'd put them in the same category.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, I still haven't done India yet, but from what I've seen, it seems pretty hectic.
Yeah, I think it's like people out doing things on the street more in those countries. Like if I'm comparing it to like Japan, like let's say there's like a bike repair shop in Japan, that would be inside a shop, and like you take it into the bike, everything's like all neat and tidy. Whereas like in India, there'll be like bikes hanging off everywhere. Someone's like repairing it there. There's like right next to them, there's like someone making tea, like pouring it and everything. I think just there's more life happening on the streets, and I think that's why there's more moments to capture.
It's almost like in those countries, because I kind of know what you mean. Like Vietnam's similar. It's like the world is like flipped inside out. Like you get to see the inside of like what lives are like in those countries, which is very unique because especially in like the US and like some of these other countries, everybody is very private. And it's like their lives are their lives. They don't want like people being able to see into their life or what they're doing. And in these other countries, it's kind of, that's just how their lives are. They just live, especially in Vietnam, I noticed like there's a big sense of community as well. And so everybody kind of interacts in a different way than they do, especially in like the US.
Definitely. That's a good point, actually. It is inside out. Like, it's like the layers just been stripped away. Like instead of someone eating dinner inside their house, they're on the street, like what we experience.
That's literally, like
if you want to tell, like what for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, we were doing the Vietnam trip, and we'll for sure get more into this. I want to do a deep dive onto the Vietnam trip for sure. But a little quick summary was we're just walking down the street in this little village, and this family just is eating right in the courtyard, like kind of down this like courtyard hallway thing. And they just grab us and just like pull us into their family dinner. And we're all just like sitting on the side of the road eating dinner with this like incredible family. And they're just pouring us drinks, like smoking cigarettes, like having a blast. Everybody's talking, having a good time. And it felt like you genuinely were just like getting brought into an actual moment in someone's life. And just like, it was the incredible thing about Vietnam. And I don't think there's another place like Vietnam in the world where they are the most friendly, incredible human beings that I've ever met. And you get to see that. And it doesn't matter that you're not Vietnamese. It doesn't matter that we didn't speak a word of their language. Like we said like hi and thank you. That's like all we could say. Yeah.
That's it.
And they were still 100% willing to like bring us in, just use translator apps like, and talk to us.
Translated on Google Translate. Like, have a beer. Like.
Yeah, you have that photo, which is crazy. So yeah, we'll definitely dive more into that, but I agree 100% with what you're saying. Like it's a crazy experience. So, all right, cool. So I guess the next thing, which would be like a little more into the street photography stuff, is like Did it like so you started off in like kind of the event space, event photography and stuff like that. Was the trend when did you start shooting like actual street photography? When did you actually feel like you were like, "Oh, I'm a street photographer now," or
Mm.
I'm like I am going out with the intention to shoot street photography? Was this when you were younger or did was it a little bit like later?
It was that's like where I started. Like I would when I was like 15, 16,
Okay.
I would go after school some days like with one of my friends who was also into street photography. I'm sure you've seen it. It's kind of like that real like in your face kind of street photography. Like that's what I was watching on Instagram. Like people just like going right up into people's faces. Like I was like, that's so cool. But I was way too afraid to do that. So I was kind of just like sneaking little shots like here and there. And that's I kind of started with that. And then in the YouTube days, I was kind of just doing more creative photography, especially during COVID. I was just like, what can I find around my home that's creative to do photography with? And I was making do with that. And then afterwards, I've really like my current style now has kind of emerged only in the last 2 years, where it's really like trying to capture cinematic scenes within the chaos of a city. That's like been the last
Gotcha.
2 years, yeah.
That's cool.
So,
I guess then touching on because you're talking about how like when you started out, it was a little bit nerve wracking to take a photo of a stranger.
mm,
When you were kind of starting out, you're saying that you were a little bit nervous to go
hmm
shoot street photography of people in the street. You're kind of sneaking the shots. What would be your advice for someone who is starting down the path of street photography, is kind of nervous about taking that first photo of someone without permission?
yeah. I think that's the biggest thing that stops people from like doing street photography. It's that confrontation aspect. And it's super simple, but what I always tell people, and it's really just an easy thing you can do, it's like you want to obviously stay hidden so you can capture the natural moment. But like if you're going to remember anything, it's this. It's do not look your subject in the eye. So like as humans, the second you make eye contact with someone, you can feel it. It's like they're looking into your soul. It's like, whoa. And if you've just taken a photo of someone and then you proceed to look them in the eye, that's you essentially saying, hey, I just took a photo of you. Whereas what I like to do, and this is like 99% of the time, enables you to get the shot without anyone seeing. It's I like to call it like the tourist method. So, tourists, like you see them in a big city, like some even have their iPads and they're just lost, like looking at everything, looking up and around, taking photos. Take the shot of someone, you see them coming, take the photo, and then instead of looking at them, you want to just look somewhere else and then take another photo. As if you've just been like taking photos of random stuff. And then they're going to look at you and be like, oh, just a tourist taking photos of some random things. And then you're not going to have any problems. That's what I do. Do you
I
have any
like it.
tips? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. No, I like that one for sure. For sure. I use that one all the time. That's like one of my go-tos. The other one is like when you're walking past someone, you just kind of like shoot as if you're like shooting past them.
Hmm.
Or even sometimes I'll have like whoever I'm standing with, I'll be like, hey, stand here a little bit, and I'll shoot past them. So it looks like I'm shooting my friend, but I'm actually shooting what's behind him, like the scene and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll do like little things like that, but for sure it's still a struggle to this day. Like it still takes me a while to like get ready to go out and go take photos of random strangers without permission. Like it can be a little bit intense. It can be a little bit intense on like the moral side of things as well, and I think that's a big argument that people have in our industry on whether this is morally a good thing to do or if you're allowed to do it or if you should do it. What's your opinion on that? Like, do you feel like taking a photo, first of all, taking the photo of a stranger
hmm
without posting it, morally acceptable? I think most people could
Yeah.
probably agree, as long as it's not in like a private, like shooting into their bathroom or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
For
If
sure.
you're just in the street, yeah.
Then taking that photo and posting it online
hmm
to potentially millions of people.
Yeah. I think it depends on your intention. Like I
Okay.
think it comes down to intention. I think because yeah, if you've got some weird account on Instagram where you're posting like weird photos of people, then yeah, that's odd. You could be in the street, but like
Yeah.
it's what we're doing is street photography. It's not taking photos of strangers and posting it online. you know,
Hmm.
like that is what we're doing, but it's an art form in itself. And I think people who don't understand what that is, like morally, they think it's like why are you taking photos of random strangers?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's very clear that if someone was just like sneaking photos of like women or something, and like
Yeah.
just trying to like post like photos of them online, I think that would be kind of weird for
Hmm.
sure, and that would definitely be a very gray, very morally unacceptable.
Yeah.
So then, okay, street photography as an art form, I think is pretty fair to say that as long as the law is on your side in that country,
Hmm.
for sure, 100%. Okay, so what about when the law isn't on your side? What about these countries where you're actually breaking the law by doing
Mm.
that? Because places like Seoul, for example, I've even heard Japan potentially has like some maybe new laws, or they have laws previously about posting someone's face online.
Really?
Yeah,
I
at
thought.
least Seoul for sure. So I can talk
Yeah.
on Seoul. I know 100% that if you post a photo of someone online, that is breaking the law.
Mm.
Now, the amount of trouble you can get in is, usually it's going to be a, hey, can you take this photo down type
Yeah.
of situation. But would you feel comfortable if you knew 100% this is breaking the law by doing this? Is that still a morally acceptable? And I think there is an argument to be made for it, because I still think it is an art form. And I
Mm.
don't think every law, just because it's a law, is something that, you have to 100% follow.
Some very
But
stupid. There.
there are some very stupid laws out there. But respecting the culture of
Mm.
that country as well, and the laws of that country, where do you fall on that?
It's definitely a gray area. It's like, for like the way I view it is like, imagine in 50 years if there were no photos of Seoul, Korea. Like you couldn't see that. That would be so sad. Like culturally, you would want to document that, and that's the way I see this. It's like right now, if you look at it from a day-to-day perspective, it's like, oh, you're photographing people on the street. That's disrespectful to their culture. Whereas like if you think longer term, it's like, well, I'm actually documenting this one moment that happened in this country, and I think that's the art form that we're all trying to do as street photographers. So yeah, it is a gray area. I don't know. I kind of just send it. Like that's my perspective on it. Just send it. Like this is what we're doing. There are some stupid laws out there. If we're talking specifically about like Seoul, Korea, I know some photographers just do it regardless. But it's hard to say. Like I don't know how people feel about it.
Yeah.
I still just do it personally.
So I think I agree pretty heavily on like the art form side of it. I think that if you're doing street photography for art, 100%, I don't see anything wrong with it. Now, though, what about people like us or other people who monetize this as well? Because we're essentially making money off of another person's photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that kind of come into play?
Yeah. I don't know. Never really thought of it. I think like, if you're selling a photo of someone,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's like, yeah, but I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of laws even in the US. So like even though the US has very like relaxed laws on taking a photo of someone, posting it on Instagram, it's still illegal to sell a photo of someone. Like you couldn't have someone in the photo and that's your print that you're
Yeah.
selling directly of them. You could make a photo book, and if it's an art like book, then you can't. But an individual photo of a person is illegal to sell.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because you're like, yeah, making money off someone else essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like to be able to make money off someone, let's say like street photography, being able to make money off a photo of someone in the street. That like good luck doing that, because like that takes years of like learning how to do street photography, years of like learning how to do business to the point. Like I think if you've gotten to that point, you kind of deserve it. Like you deserve to be able to like.
You deserve to do morally questionable things if you
Of
worked hard
course,
for it.
yeah. If you worked hard for it, you can do anything you want. No, I think like in terms of the art form of it, yeah, I think you've worked for it, but like, yeah, it's heavily biased. It's what I do for work.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a gray area, definitely.
Yeah. I'm more on the side of like, if you're in a public area, fair game for anything, pretty much. Like, in terms of photography and using that, photograph for whatever you want to use it for. I think that, and that's maybe my U.S. bias coming into play, because I feel like in the U.S. we have a very strong opinion on like public space and like freedoms and like what you're allowed to do in a public space, which is pretty much, a lot of things.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm pretty for that side of things. I do get a little bit hesitant in countries like Seoul, and
Yeah.
I do try to post more photos of people with their face covered, like the umbrella's covering it, or the tarp is covering it, or whatever. And I've seen some incredible photographers that just blur the faces as well. When I was in Seoul, because if you're a street photographer from Seoul, you don't mess around with the laws. Like, you blur everyone's face. Like, every single Seoul photographer I saw does that.
All right.
But as a foreigner, my page isn't getting viewed by, millions of people from Seoul.
No.
So it tends to be a little bit less worrisome for me. But yeah, I mean, I think this will always be something that is going to be discussed. I think at the end of the day, the goal from our end is to create incredible photos. Like, I didn't make money at this for a long time. I sacrificed a lot of my life in order to become a photographer. And I think as well, like, the money-making aspect of it is what allows us to go create this art. If we didn't, we wouldn't be able to document what we document. We wouldn't be able to go out and do what we do, because we'd be working a job. And I think that in the new day and age, this has allowed for freedom of people like you and me, where we don't have to get hired by some, document, Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Documentary.
Yeah.
To go shoot photography somewhere. We can just do it ourselves and self-sustain,
Exactly.
which is crazy, because, before Instagram, before YouTube, that didn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to like my last little 2 cents about it is like, morals and art are like, they're kind of like, sometimes they cross, sometimes they're like two separate things. And I'm like, sometimes you might be crossing a moral line in order to create a good photo, but I think it's worth it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's worth it most of the time. As long as you're not purposely hurting someone else with going out with the intention of hurting someone.
Yeah.
Like taking a bad photo of them.
Yeah, it's worth getting the shot.
As long as you're not being a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, whatever you got to do to be able to do this art form as your life, and like go out into the world and document and take photos and show the world what the world looks like, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, you might have to cross some morals, but that's what we do.
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, cool. Man, that was deep. What do you feel like is the most difficult thing about like street photography for you personally? Like, because I think at this point, from what I've seen, you're pretty relaxed about going up and taking a photo of someone. You're comfortable taking the photo of the person. So I assume that it's not that anymore. It's not like you are worried about going, although it's still probably there a little bit. But what for you is the most difficult aspect of street photography that you're still working on yourself to like bring you to that next level?
Damn, these are good questions. Because I mean, yeah, obviously sometimes I do get that like anxiety of like, oh, what's gonna happen if I take this photo? And it does still stop me sometimes. I still do the thing where you pull up the camera a bit and then you walk away. Like, obviously, yeah, I'm human still, so you're always gonna feel that. I think what's like really stopping me, or like what's something that's hard, like that I'm finding.
What would you say is something that's like still difficult for you, or that you're personally like really working on, that you feel like if you mastered this, it would bring your photography to that next level? It would bring your street photos to that next level, to where you really want to be?
I think it's still just sharpening your photographic eye of like noticing moments. I think that's the biggest thing. Like if I look back on my street photography from like 3 years ago to where it is now, the main thing I would say is maybe like a little bit of the editing, and maybe like a little bit of like, how I'm like editing the photos. But I think the main thing is noticing those moments that are worth photographing. Like that's the hardest thing. Like you see, like if I look at my photography inspiration, I'm like, how did they capture this moment of like, do you know Billy D? Do you follow Billy D? He's like this photographer from New York City, but he like travels around the world and he gets these insane shots of like, I think he was in Kenya, I believe, and like it's just this night scene. There's these two kids like jumping in the air, like playing with this telephone box, and then like that's on 1/3 of the frame, and then there's a whole other story of like this other family like walking down this street on the other side, and it's like, how do you like notice these situations, but then also like getting into these situations? I think that's the hardest part, and a lot of beginner photographers as well. Like I say to them, like you're not actually your photos aren't even that bad. It's just you're not putting yourself in these amazing photo scenarios for you to get banger shots. So yeah, noticing the right frames.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the hardest parts is like, because, and you'll notice, like, I noticed this personally as I'm going through the day shooting, like from when I start to when I end, like there's a big difference from that first hour to that last hour. You know, in that first hour, I'm struggling to see anything. But then you get warmed up and you start seeing the world differently. You start seeing the world almost like as if you're like seeing through a camera through your own eyes. And I think I got like a real taste of what it was like to kind of put yourself into those situations in Vietnam specifically, where it was like, it was so different from anything I've ever shot. And like, everything felt like it was going on, and I was able to kind of navigate the scene in a way that I personally hadn't really done before, along with like how friendly they are there, that it's like I felt comfortable putting myself into positions that I wasn't comfortable with before. And I thought that was a really cool experience for myself as a street photographer, and recreating that in places like Japan, in places like New York, and all these, you know, incredible spots is more difficult. It is more difficult.
Definitely. I think it's like the main thing, it comes down to people's openness to being photographed as well. Like not only in Vietnam or like countries like India is it amazing for photography, but like, yeah, people, you're not going to get like yelled at by every person. Like I guarantee you in New York City, you're going to get yelled at like 9 out of 10 times if you like photograph someone, right? And they notice you.
Yeah.
Of what I've seen on Instagram, you know.
Yeah, it can be intense. I watch the street photographers that do the flash photography.
Yeah.
They're crazy, bro.
Yeah, you're just asking for it at that
Yeah,
point.
like,
That is like a huge art form in itself.
Yeah.
Like that's.
And so I don't think I want to be that confrontational in my photography. Like I like it. I think it's cool photography. I don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
Like I in a lot of ways I prefer the photography where I'm 10 miles away with a telescope, like you know, shooting them.
7200.
Yeah, but I do enjoy the close-up photography as well. I just need to get better at it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a difference in how you shoot when you go out by yourself versus when you're with somebody? And do you think that you do better objectively by yourself or when you're with someone, or does it have to be a specific person that you're going out with that gets you to shoot better? Or like, what is that kind of experience for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like if I'm with someone, let's say I've like just met someone and like we're trying to have like a conversation. I can't have a convo with someone, like a conversation, and then also do street photography. It's like, if we're going out to do street photography, like you might talk for a bit and then you just like veer off into your own like street photography world and like capture what it is. Kind of like what we were doing in Vietnam. Like when we were in Hanoi, we would have a little chat and then you'd see a sunlight patch over there. I'd see something cool and then you just like wander off and then you're like, yo, dude, where are you? Like, like half an hour later. So
like when Guy Air was on the other side of the mountain, like in a different fucking world, and we're like, what the fuck is Guy Air? And we're like, is that him?
Literally in the tea fields, we look over to like the other mountain, and our friend Guy Air, he's just like there with these other like tea farmers. We're like, bro, how did you get there? Like, and because he's so tall, obviously, it's so easy to spot.
So funny. That's true.
But yeah, I think like I can't have a conversation and do street photography. So like, yeah, in that aspect, being by yourself is good. But like, I do notice when I'm with other street photographers, I'm more definitely more confident in like getting the shot because you're
Mm.
kind of, I think psychologically you're like, okay, if anything happens, like I've got my mates around me, like I'll be fine. Like any confrontation. So I think in a group, yeah, not too big of a group, maybe like 2-3 people max. Yeah. How about you? What do you find?
I think I find myself needing to do both.
Mm.
So when I go out with someone like you or some other photographers that I'm, friends with, there is a different level that I push myself to, I feel like, in those environments because I'm a little bit competitive. Like there's just a little bit of me
A
that's
little
like
bit.
there's like you can't even win at photography, but I'm like, oh, I love this shit. Like when I'm with people, I force myself to be a little bit like I force myself to go further than I would normally.
What do you mean by that? Like go further. What's an example?
Like take the shot that like me by myself would have been like, oh, that's a little like it's a little uncomfortable, right? And so I also like I do feel myself being more creative when I'm around other creative people, like really creative people, especially if I'm like vibing with the person. Like I'm like on another level of like creativity, and like I start just throwing things out, and I feel like I hit a flow state. But there's the other aspect to it, which is like when I do go out by myself, there's this like self-discovery of who I am as a photographer. And there's also more patience. I have more patience when I'm by myself. When I'm with someone, like if the shot doesn't come in like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it. I'm not going to sit here and make my friend wait
Yeah, I
10
remember.
minutes for a shot to come. Like, I'll wait a couple minutes for sure. If I see a cool scene, like a frame that I want to see if I can get a good shot in, I'll wait 2-3 minutes. But after 2-3 minutes, if nobody walks through the frame, I'm out. Whereas when I'm doing street photography by myself, if I see a cool frame, I'll sit there for 30 minutes. I'll shoot that scene for 30 minutes, that single frame for 30 minutes. And I don't feel as bad about doing it because I'm by myself. I can sit there all day if I want. So
Yeah.
I think I have more patience, and I have the ability to really focus on just photography and just taking photos, and there's no distractions. Like sometimes I even go out. I do both. I think that like there's advantages to each, but sometimes I'll throw headphones in and I'll just be in my own world, just taking photos.
What do you listen to?
Whatever's on my playlist.
Okay. There's
Yeah,
not,
it
not
just
like
kind
a
of depends.
specific.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
My music is eclectic as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like Beethoven.
Yeah.
Like, although I should try that one day. I feel like that'd be fun. But there's the other side of it too, which I like being a little bit more social sometimes when I'm shooting. And if I have my headphones in, I feel like I actually get into more confrontations when I have my headphones in.
Really?
Yeah, which is funny because like I'm so in my own world that like I feel like I don't look friendly to people. Like my face is more straight, like I'm not smiling as much, and I'm just like taking photos. I'm so just hyper focused on the photo that I forget that like I'm interacting with a human being and I should probably like smile and wave and like be friendly. Whereas when I don't have my headphones in, I'm a lot more like friendly, waving, saying hi, like, and I tend to get less confrontations when I do it that way. So, but yeah, that's kind of my style.
Yeah,
so.
I find it hard with headphones personally.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
I've been doing it less. Yeah,
it's like
for that specific
almost.
reason of what I was saying. Like I find myself being a little bit more confrontational. But
Yeah.
I also feel like I enjoy just sometimes being out shooting, just like music, hanging out. So yeah, there's both sides.
Yeah, it can be a vibe sometimes.
Yeah, can be. When you go out and when you first start taking photos, what's the first thing you start doing to like start warming up, start getting into flow, start like feeling better? Because like for me personally, like when I go out and shoot, like that first hour is rough for me. It takes me a little bit of time to like get warmed up and get shooting. What do you do that either makes that process go faster? Do you feel like that happens to you as well?
Yeah.
And what do you do to kind of get out of that?
Yeah, it's kind of like warming up as a photographer, right? It's like
it's a weird thing to say. I've always thought this was weird. I didn't understand it until I experienced it. That like, oh yeah, you have to warm your brain up to like go take photos.
Yeah, it's like anything. It's like when you go to the gym, you don't just like go in straight up, lift your heaviest weight. Otherwise, you're gonna like probably injure yourself. Like you warm up. Same thing with photography. Like you need to warm that noticing muscle of finding the good shots. And yeah, I feel that feeling. It's like you go out and it doesn't matter where you are. Like even here in Japan, like an amazing country for photography. I'll go out in the morning and I'm like the shittest photographer. Like I can't see any photos. Like I'm in Japan. Why can't I see the good shots? And what I like to do in that first half an hour to like an hour is just capture anything that I notice. Like anything that grabs my attention, whether it's like a pot plant or whether it's a patch of light, just photograph it. Get in the habit of noticing things and capturing it and pressing the shutter button. And then yeah, after half an hour of doing that, you're kind of a bit more aware of what's going around. You're more in tune with your camera. You know what settings you're wanting to use, and the shots kind of just come up, and you kind of see them. They come to you a bit more. But like, I don't know. It also depends where you are. Like, you drop yourself into a market in the middle of Vietnam. You don't need warming up. You're on instantly. So I think it's a bit of both. It depends where you are as well as, yeah, needing to warm up a lot. Like, did you feel that as well? Like when we were in Vietnam, it was like,
Yeah, it was a different type of warming up. It was like the day one I needed to warm up. And then once I had we'd done our first day and finished, the next day, everything else flowed after that. Like I was good to go. As soon as we'd start shooting, I was in the mode. Like, yeah. So, first day, I definitely needed a little bit of like,
yeah,
get into it and
that's a good
see
point.
and kind of understand what was even happening. Cause I went into that trip not really knowing what I was getting myself into at all.
Yeah.
Like I never asked any questions. I never did fucking anything. I was like, fuck it, we're going to Vietnam. We're gonna go take some photos. I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know. And so, yeah, just a little bit of understanding of what we were even doing, what kind of photos we were taking, and then kind of watching you and some of the other guys. You know what was going on and kind of getting into that mode a little bit.
Yeah, it takes time, especially when you land in a new country. You need to get your bearings a bit. It's like, okay, well, like I want to do photography, but like first, where the fuck am I? Like,
yeah,
let's adjust a bit. So
yeah, 100%. And it was a different style of photography than I'm used to. My style before that was very much like try to like create like a nice scene and a nice frame and like have one like subject in that scene. And then now I'm in the middle of this village with like all this hectic chaos going on. And it's like we're just going in it, you know, and so it was different experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk more about it. But how do you push yourself to get better at photography and like try new things, and instead of just like going out and feeling like you shoot the same stuff over and over? Because I see some photographers, and I think this is a flaw of some photographers, is I look at their page and I could tell you what they were shooting a year ago because it's the exact same photos.
Yeah.
Just on repeat, you know? So what do you do to kind of like get yourself out of that from like just shooting the same stuff or like stagnating or like not improving your photography? Like how do you get better?
Simply just by going to new places. Like I know I've brought it up a lot in this podcast, but like India, like that trip to India I did like 8 months ago in March of this year, that like changed, almost like had a perspective shift in my life, which obviously bled out into my photography as well. Like just seeing new things changes the way you see the world, which in turn changes the way you're going to be noticing things, which then changes your photography. So like simply by just putting yourself in the deep end, going to a new country that maybe isn't so touristy or maybe isn't so explored, and then seeing how you capture that. Because if you're shooting the same place over and over and over again, most likely going to get the same sort of shots. So that's what I like to do. But I don't have any like techniques or anything. It's pretty much just going to new places. Yeah. How about you? Do you have anything that you do?
I think it's pretty much the same thing. Like I actually get very restless in a city if I've shot the city for more than like a month. To where like I feel like I have to go somewhere else. Like it's even if like and I respect some of the photographers that stay in one city and just shoot the same city. And they actually, the cool thing about those photographers is they will find the most unique shots that you'll never ever get as like the visiting photographer. There was this Lisbon photographer that I when I was in Lisbon, I actually ran into him in the streets and we talked and I followed him and I would look at his shots and like he has this one shot of this one very popular thing, but it's from above.
Mm.
And I was like, how the fuck did I messaged him? How did you get up there? And he was like, I was just there one day, and this lady who lived in that like house right above that spot was like, do you want to come take photos off my balcony? And like, if you don't live in that city and shoot those shots every day and go to those spots every day, that just is never going to happen, you know? And so I think those photographers are incredible in those cities. They shoot it in the most unique, interesting way. But for me personally, I have to go to new spots. I have to go to new places, new countries. Otherwise, like, yeah, I get bored. I also like, I mean, with Fuji, and maybe we'll dive into some gear stuff as well. Like, I like shooting with different recipes and stuff too. Or like, I'll shoot black and white. Like, actually on the Vietnam trip, I like halfway through the trip, I just started almost shooting entirely black and
I
white.
remember, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
When I started shooting black and white, 'cause I saw how cool it looked. I'm like, hang on
Yeah.
a second, I want to do this.
And so I think that color photography and black and white photography are two completely different ways of shooting. My brain goes into a different mode when I'm shooting black and white photography versus when I'm shooting color. And so that part right there is a very easy, quick fix. If you guys are like, if you guys are out there shooting and you guys want a quick way of like switching things up, just shoot black and white.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just like color edit the photo black and white. And I was kind of showing you this actually when we were in Vietnam, like flip your camera into black and white. Shoot with your camera in black and white, because when you see the photo without color, that's what gets your brain to like actually understand what black and white photography is and what it should look like, and you can see the shadows and the contrast better, and you can see what the light's doing with the black and white photography. Versus if you're just shooting in color, there's so many distractions and it's like very colorful, and it's hard to imagine in your head like what would this look like black and white. You know,
It's a completely different style. I think. Is it the fact that there's less distractions? You're just focusing more on the composition. I think it's something like that. Like
composition, the contrast as well. Yeah, it's just I find myself looking at light different. When I'm shooting black and white, I'm way more obsessed with how the light is in the scene, especially pockets of light. I'm obsessed with pockets of light. And then I also like close-up portraits a lot more when I'm doing black and white. So I love that close-up, especially of like older people, where they're like, you can see the creases in their face and like their eyes, and it just like, it pulls away everything else and it just focuses on like the person and their soul and like what you're looking at. So for me, like that's what black and white photography does to me. It like brings me into that mode versus with colors, I'm like looking for colors. I'm looking for the colors in the scene. Like, how is this color lining up? Like the composition, I'm less worried about light as well. Like I'm not looking for a pocket of light necessarily. Like it's nice to have in my color photography, but I'm fine with it not being there at all.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's more like you're like also kind of like trying to match maybe the subject's jacket. If they're wearing a red jacket, trying to pair that with something red in the scene. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, black and white's cool. It's very different type of photography, but really cool.
And I think it's good to shoot it in black and white versus like shooting color and then editing black and white.
Completely different.
Yeah, it's not the same.
No.
So, speaking of Fuji and Sony, obviously we got to talk about Fuji and Sony because, you know, I know you have been shooting Sony your entire life.
I started on Nikon. Yeah, mate.
All right.
So
Nikon
live here.
And then, when did you start shooting Sony?
I started shooting Sony when I was, let's see, probably around like 18 years old, roughly.
Okay.
Yeah. So
9 years?
8-9 years. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been shooting for a while.
Okay. And then you just kind of dabbled a little bit into the Fuji because I let you borrow my Fuji film.
You gave me your Fuji because so like for context, about a month ago we went on the Vietnam photo tour, and at the start, like when I found out you shot on Fuji, we were just like giving each other shit, like like Sony's so shit or Fuji's so shit, and like,
to be fair, I shot Sony.
Yeah.
Like for almost 5, 6, 7 years too. So like I was a Sony fanboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because we started like we're talking about Instagram and like posting like super frequently, and you were talking about like Fuji's good for that because you don't have to edit your photos, and that's obviously been something you've played upon within your content.
Yeah.
And then one morning you were like, oh, you want to bring out the Fuji? I was like, all right, I'll give the Fuji a go. And then, yeah, just having those in color recipes was really fun to play around with. It's really fun, but like, I think as a main camera, like Sony for me is just like where it's at. Just color grading wise, the raw capabilities, that's just what I like. But at the end of the day, that's just what you like. That's what it comes down to. Whatever works within your workflow. It's such a big debate, like which is better, which is this. If you're shooting in raw, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that for sure. Like when it comes to like photography with just like raw photos, if you're gonna edit your photos, then it becomes more of like which camera has like the best quality of life differences in the sense of like how's the autofocus, how are the custom buttons, how is the screen, how is the the viewfinder, how are the lenses, like all of those things matter a lot. But then once you get into the world of Fuji, it's almost a different style of photography entirely. It's almost a different way of shooting, especially if you start shooting JPEG. It's like you're no longer worried about the raw file anymore, and your photos are coming out already basically color graded. What did you find that you did like the most about the Fujifilm cameras?
Definitely yeah, like what you just said, the recipes, like being able to see the final edit. And I think like for beginners as well, like color grading is like such a big part, such a different part of photography. Like if you're shooting in raw, if you're a beginner, it's hard to like visualize the edit. Myself, like after like this many years of doing photography, like 10 years now, you can kind of see the edit as you're like shooting it. You can kind of envision it. But like that's what I loved about the Fuji. It's like, oh, like this is exactly what the photo looks like. And you can customize the recipe so that it looks like to your liking, like really cinematic and grainy or whatnot. So that's probably like the main thing, like being able to see the color grade. And then if you're sharing it to Instagram, all you have to do is just select, share to your iPhone, and then add a border around it if you're you and me. If you don't add your border.
I like your black border.
Thanks.
Is this a new thing, or had you been doing that before?
No. I liked it. It's cool. I know.
I like the black border a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's unique.
I like to do like my websites also in like dark mode. I just tend to prefer that dark mode. Maybe it works well with my photos as well.
Okay, what did you not like about the Fuji then? What was was there anything that you were like, this isn't my favorite?
I mean, if I am comparing it to like Sony, it's like the raw capabilities of the raw files is just like because I've shot with Sony for like 8 years now. I forget how much data a 61 megabyte raw file has.
Because you were shooting on the
CR
back then too.
Yeah,
like those things were massive.
Yeah,
bro.
But like just being, because I like to add heaps of masks sometimes in my photos, and like having all the raw data there, that was really cool. It was lacking a little bit on the Fuji, but like depends how much you're editing your photos. If you're shooting in JPEG, most of the time it doesn't matter. What else? I mean, I've only shot with my Fuji for like, I don't know, probably 10 photo shoots or 20 photo shoots. So
for me, it's the ergonomics, bro.
Yeah.
Like the fucking grip is just non-existent.
Yeah.
On the XM5 especially.
Yeah, true.
Luckily, it's a light camera. Like, and the lenses are super light because it's crop sensor. That would be the other thing.
That is, yeah.
How'd you like shooting on crop sensor versus full frame?
Dude, I'm like probably the least techie photographer. Like I forgot about that, to be honest. Like I forgot that it was a crop sensor, like all this stuff. I'm just like, as long as I can edit the photo to like what I like, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
But like, yes, that is, as you're bringing these points up, I'm like, yes, tick. That is something I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
The grip, you can barely hold it. But you don't have the thumb grip.
Thumb grip because I use my little Yoda on top of my camera. So can't get the tilt grip. But yeah, the grip and crop sensor, because and especially coming from Sony with the insane low light, like I shot the A7S III.
That's the other thing, low light.
Yeah, like it's brutal.
Yeah,
it is brutal. It is not easy to shoot night shots. So in that sense, like for sure, I'm definitely. I love Fuji for daytime. Daytime, I think it dominates every other camera. For street photography in the daytime, like is hard to beat.
Yeah.
But the other aspects, the carrying it around, the grip, holding the grip, and the crop sensor and low light performance, so like definitely you lack a little bit. And the XM5 also not having IBIS
or a
little bit
viewfinder. That's the other
no
thing.
viewfinder as
No
well.
viewfinder.
I don't use the viewfinder that much. I don't even think you use it that often, except to view your photos. But
it's if it's sunny, that's the main part. Like if
Yeah.
you're shooting into the sun,
mm-hmm.
I've noticed I've gone to put it up to my face a couple times. I'm like, oh, no viewfinder. So like,
brutal.
yeah, if Sony and Fuji made a camera that had like dope low light and the recipes, that's like the dream camera.
That's
But,
Nikon
like,
right now,
never-
right?
Yeah.
Didn't they just come
Hey,
out with one with
what is happening? I've heard
Yeah,
stuff on the sidelines. Maybe
Yeah.
we're both gonna swap to Nikon.
maybe? Hey, Nikon, if you
Yeah.
wanna message me, we can work together. We can make a deal. Let's dive into kind of going viral and actual social media content strategy, because I think this is something that a lot of photographers struggle with. Like I've seen photographers that take incredible photos that I look at their photos and I'm like, oh, this guy, I bet he has like 500K followers. And I look at it's like 6,000, 2,000, 1,000. I'm like, what is that? Like the photos are insane. This person just doesn't understand how to put himself out there on social media properly. So let's start off with you personally. Like, what do you actually think it takes to make a piece of content go viral?
Dude, like it's simple. Like, and I kind of learnt this from you as well when we were in Vietnam, because like to give a bit of context, I was like struggling to even grow my Instagram account, and I had like 250,000 followers. But like the state of Instagram in this day and age, it's like it's a game, and you have to just figure out how to play it if you want to win, if you want to grow your account. And all I think you have to do is just, instead of guessing, you have to just see what already is working. So like for me, what I've been doing is like literally searching up photography on Instagram or like other niches, seeing what they're doing, and then putting your own twist on it. And that, if you want to grow on Instagram, that's what you have to do. Like, yeah, that's kind of like what we were talking about in Vietnam, right? Like that's what you've been doing as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. 100%. I agree. I think that it's the biggest aspect of finding content to create for yourself is finding what is working for other people, for sure.
Yes.
So that being said, what do you personally feel like is the formula that these other creators are using? Like if you had to break it down, because you've obviously watched a ton of content, you've created a ton of content, what is probably like the one or two most important things, the most important aspects to each piece of content? And we'll talk about reels specifically. Carousels are a completely different thing, but let's talk about reels. What is like the 1 to 2 things that like really is the difference maker in like a piece of content that maybe gets like 50K views versus a piece of content that gets like 10 million?
It's got to, like, in this day and age, it's got to be like a little bit on the controversial side, or at least make someone's like ears prick and be like, oh, like, or like, what is this guy talking about? So for example, if I think back to the couple reels that have gone off recently, it's ones that, like, for example, one that's like only photographers know what I'm doing. So like that was the text on one of the reels, and it was just literally a reel of me like taking a photo and then like twisting the camera to do like the motion blur effect. And then it was like 5 clips or so, and it was just on repeat. So like the text on that, I think that's what made it viral, because everyone who's not a photographer is going to immediately not know what I'm doing, and then they're going to go in the comments and like scroll through and then be like trying to figure out what am I doing. And then all the photographers are going to feel like they're a part of this community, and they're like commenting as well. So like if we're talking about specifically content that you want to go viral, I think it's got to like, you got to find the right text paired with the right video for sure.
I think the text is important.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah. What do you
because
think, bro?
even if the person doesn't care about whatever is in the text, it still holds them on to that video for one more second for them to read the text, even if it doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
And so I think when it comes to like viral content, when you look at sort of the analytics on your videos, obviously the most watched videos, the ones that have the longest watch time, tend to be the ones that go the most viral,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so photographers that aren't putting text on that first clip are losing out on that 1 to 2 extra seconds of someone watching that video, even if they click away,
Yeah.
that they're not getting, which is taking the average view time of their videos and dropping it significantly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the text in a very clear, visible way, that's right on top of the video, that's the first thing that they see, and they can easily read it, is like number one most important thing to go
Mm-hmm.
viral. And then as well, I mean, I think that that's like super important. Obviously, the quality of the content is really important as well. Like
Yeah.
for really viral content, like it doesn't have to be insane, but it has to look good.
Yeah.
Like it can't look shit.
No, you have to also have good photos. And like the way I'm kind of viewing it now is because I want to keep my artist like integrity. Like I want to be making the things that I want to do, not just shit that goes viral. I think of viral content and like the way you are making carousels and reels to go viral to gain followers. That's just a way of displaying your true artwork. You shouldn't change your photos to go viral. You just need to change the way you're displaying them.
100%.
And I think that's like the main thing photographers don't get. Like if you're in 2025 and 2026, if you're just posting a carousel on Instagram with no text or anything, no one will see it.
Yeah, I don't think it matters what photos you post at all.
No.
As long as they're good photos, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because like you and I saw, for example, that one, you were showing me the flower photographer who was doing these like long exposure, like flower shutter drag flower shots. Just photos of flowers. Nothing else. It's his whole profile and massively viral on all his videos. But it's because he knows how to hook the audience into looking at the content, and then the photos are just nice photos to look at. They're nothing crazy. It's not like it's a photo that no one else could make. Like anyone could go out there and do shutter drag of flowers. You know, you were doing it for a little while there. You were getting all excited.
I actually did it.
Running around taking photos of flowers. Like there's like cool ass Vietnam shit going on. I just see Liam in the corner, just like taking
Like,
photos of
cool.
flowers.
There's a nice light patch on the flower. But yeah.
So yeah, I think that you can do any type of photography that you want, which is really should be liberating for a lot of people, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I have to do Instagram style photography. You don't.
No.
But you do have to present it properly. 100%.
Yeah, if you're wanting to grow your account. Yeah, for sure.
In that sense, do you feel like the day and age of a photographer just being a photographer is gone? Like they need to be content creators at this point? Or can a photographer still grow on Instagram and become renowned for his photography without leveraging the content creation aspect just by posting his photos?
Yes, if you're like in the top 0.1% and your photos are just like fucking insane to the point where like no one else is taking photos as good as you. Yeah. But like the reality is most people aren't in that category. And like if you're not, you're going to have to leverage like what we're talking about, which is like displaying your photos in a way that is going to go viral or at least get more views than just posting. I think that era of just posting your photos died in like 2019, like before TikTok and short form content really took over the internet. You could just post like decent photos and they could go viral. But yeah, what do you reckon? Do you think it's
I've seen a couple of photographers that I've personally, as I've grown, I've watched them grow as well. I've outpaced them significantly, quickly, but they still grow at a good, steady pace without really posting too many reels. So I think it's possible. It's just like you're going to accept that you're going to grow slower. Like you're going to grow at a slower pace. And if you're okay with growing at a slower pace because you refuse to create a reel, sure. As long as you, and I think this is the biggest thing for me when people are making these types of decisions, is like, as long as you understand the repercussions of that decision and you're making that decision knowing full well what you are deciding, fair game.
Yeah.
But I think some photographers, they're like, no, I can do everything just by showing my photos. Or they feel like they should be able to.
Yeah.
Like they're like, angry at the system. They're angry at the game for being the way it is.
Yeah,
And they're like, no, it shouldn't be like that. And it's like, well, it is.
exactly.
So you're either going to make the decision to grow slowly, or you're going to make the decision to play the game how the game is played.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
So what do you feel like is something that's changed about your content creation strategy recently that's kind of made a big difference in how you've been able to continue growing or start growing again? Whether it's how you shoot and go out and shoot, or it's how you edit, or what type of videos you're making, what's kind of made the biggest difference for you? Because when we met, you were at like what, 280? I think you've grown like 100K since
No,
we met
I was
a month
at
ago.
254.
254. And now you're at 3.
Almost 100K more. Threes. Yeah, I can't remember. But yeah.
So, and then before we met, you were like, how much were you growing in the year before we met?
Not much, because I wasn't posting like the main difference is like posting consistently. And like that's something we talked about pretty much from day one when we were in Vietnam. I was like, dude, like I'm posting and like I'm just not growing. Like what's going on? And like I think the main thing we talked about was posting consistently. Like, and what we were like, I'll post 2 times a day, and I've been doing that for the past month and a half, and that's enabled me to grow 100,000 followers, which is pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, within the past month.
So then what made the biggest difference in you being able to create 2 pieces of content per day versus like not? Like what was that change for you that made you able to do that?
It's a mindset shift of like it's a couple of things. So first of all, like I know a lot of photographers want to have a clean feed on Instagram. If you want to grow, like you have to throw that out the window a little bit, because creating content that goes viral or gets seen by a lot of people is not always going to look pretty. Like something we figured out is that like if you just post like a selfie of yourself like holding a camera and like doing a dumb little smile, or like not a dumb little smile, that's pretty harsh, but like doing like smiling, or like some sort of selfie of you holding your camera as the cover photo with some big text, like what we've been doing recently is "This is not AI."
Yep.
That just goes off on Instagram, and it's like the old mindset is I want to post just a photo with no text or anything because that looks clean on my feed. But if you want to grow, you have to leverage these tactics, and on your feed, you're going to have a photo of yourself with some big text on it. Doesn't look pretty per se, but that's what's going to get more views. So it's getting rid of that mindset that your feed needs to look perfect, because you can't, especially if you're posting twice a day. Next thing is the way you approach making content needs to be different from your photography. So like in photography, you want to get inspired and then produce your own artwork. With posting every day, you have to do research and figure out what's already been doing well, and essentially just copy that exact thing, so that you're not spending time each day overthinking, being perfectionist, and then getting burnt out by the 4th day and not doing anything. So like literally wake up in the morning, look at what's doing well on Instagram, and then copy that idea within your own style, within your own niche, and just post that. So letting go of that perfectionism of this needs to look really good on the feed side of things. What else? Those are some 2 things. I'm curious, like what tactics you use, because you're also posting. You're posting twice a day, or at least once a day?
I try to post twice a day. I will say, like with carousels, they became a little bit more difficult to create, a little more time consuming, because you have to come up with this like idea. Sometimes you'll do like, even like there's some that I really want to do that are like really complicated, or like I did a recent one where it was like a split of like and you do the split ones as well, but like I did just like a photo of the BTS and the photo of the end result, and I did that, and like that takes an hour to make, and so the carousels have become a little more difficult to do consistently. I can still pump out reels pretty quick, Um, but the carousels have definitely made things a little bit more difficult to like consistently just post twice a day. I should. Here's the thing. I'm transitioning a little bit away from the posting twice a day, but mainly only on carousels, just because I know if I put together a really good carousel and I put the right text on it, I'm confident in my ability. I'm more confident in my ability to know what's going to do well on my
Mm.
carousels than I am on my reels.
Right.
With my reels, I'm sort of spray and praying, and like with my carousels, I'm a little bit more thought out. I'm like, oh, okay, like I know if I put these photos together, like this will crush. And so I'm being a little bit more thoughtful. I still think I should just like let it fly. And like yesterday, I posted just a carousel, no cap, no text on it, nothing. I just threw the carousel together, and it's doing well. And I'm like, okay, like I need to remember that sometimes of like, okay, even if the carousel isn't going to be perfect, it's still worth putting a carousel out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So in that sense, I am posting twice or trying to post twice a day. The biggest thing for me is BTS.
Mm.
I think that this is the thing that almost every photographer lacks, and they refuse to do it. And I refused to do it for a long time. I hated doing BTS. BTS was my least favorite part of like the whole process, and I think it can be the most difficult part as well, especially when you're starting out, because as you're building a skill, your ability to focus on two things at once is significantly diminished.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to focus on just the task that you're doing. So I think that when photographers are starting out, it sometimes is, I think, valuable for them to just focus on photography and like kind of forget a little bit about the BTS, or like get like one or two clips of BTS and then focus on photography and make sure your photography skills are up to where they need to be. But once your skills in photography are where they need to be and you're able to do multiple things at once, I think BTS is the most important thing to going viral on Instagram. More important than the style of post you do, more important than your captions, more important than anything.
Mm-hmm.
You have one good clip of BTS. Sometimes that one clip of BTS is everything in that video, from taking your video from like a 200,000 view video to a 15 million view video. Like we were kind of talking about the my most viral video that's just hit 15 million views.
Mm.
That video, the first clip, is insane.
Yeah.
And it hooks them in so well that without that piece of BTS, that video would have done maybe a couple million.
Yeah. I'll give anyone who's watching like a bit of context. It's like literally just an iPhone clip of you holding up your camera, taking a photo of this fisherman in Vietnam. But the reason why it was so like hooky and it really brings the audience in is because the guy is like yelling in Vietnamese to his co-workers, and like that noise paired with the audio of the song and paired with you bringing up your camera paired with the text, that's just like four things at once. That's just making someone has to stop
Yep.
and scroll, versus like some averagely filmed clip of like the ground with your camera, you know.
Exactly. So I think the quality of your BTS is so important. And as you get better at this, you need to focus more on your BTS.
Mm-hmm.
I flew another photographer out with me to Japan and Hong Kong just to help me with my BTS,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how important it is to me that I'm willing to take that hit financially just
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that I have someone with me at all times that can shoot BTS of me, that can take photos of me, that can take videos of me, that can help me. And that also, like, just being around other creators as well
Mm-hmm.
is super helpful with just my flow.
Yeah.
So I think that by far, like the things you were saying, along with BTS, if you want to go viral, those are the three things that you need to focus on and like ignore almost everything else.
100%. And I'm curious to where it's going to go, because like right now it's kind of like iPhone clips or like POV stuff that seems to be doing really well. I'm curious, do you have like any idea of where it could be heading to, like in terms of BTS of your photography? Or do you feel like it's just going to kind of stay like this for a while?
It's tough to say, man,
Yeah.
because like the carousel changes definitely were important. Like and I started noticing it when it was the what I see versus what I shoot. That
Yeah.
was when I started realizing, oh, carousels are more important than reels even.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten more growth from carousels than reels. I think that's where we're going to see the most change, is how people leverage carousels
Mm.
versus reels. I think reels are going to stay moderately the same. One thing I will say I predict will be a noticeable change is that the songs are going to lean more towards these long intro songs.
Yeah.
And we've noticed this.
Yeah.
Any song with like a really interesting long intro is going to be phenomenal for going viral.
Yeah.
But I think carousels have a little bit more flexibility to play with the text, the things that you're doing. You can people can scroll through, they can stop, they can look at a photo, they can pinch zoom on things. I think there's more interactive ability in a carousel. And so I think leveraging that interactability of the carousel to another level will be the next thing that we start seeing people do, where it's like, and you've seen things like this, like where if they hold their thumb on the thing, they can scroll back and forth and make the photo move, or like pinch zoom into certain areas, or like I love the ones I think Pat K does where it's like he shows you the composition, then every carousel he like draws on it, you know, or yours where like half of it's a video, half of it's a photo. Like I think the carousels have a lot more ability for people to be creative and come up with new ideas than reels, personally.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you can, carousel, like reels are almost for like finding new people and bringing them to your page. And then carousels is a bit more like personal almost as well.
But they've become, because of the fact that carousels are reels now, they've become essentially that finder of people. Before this most recent reel, all my most followed like posts that had the most followers come to me were all carousels. It was like if I went to my most followed by post, it was like carousel, 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 reel, carousel, 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 carousel. So like growth wise, even carousels are just as important.
Yeah.
If not more important.
It's a good point. Yeah, actually, I forgot that they're now showing up in the reels tab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy now. If someone was to like, they want to go viral their first time, their first time ever, what would you say would be the simplest way? And we've kind of given them a lot of stuff, but what would be the tangible things that they could go do today, tomorrow, and like actually create something that goes viral?
I would say literally just go to your page or my page and go to the most viral video within the past month or 2 months and just copy it. Look at the text we've used, look at the song we've used, the way we've filmed the BTS, like all these little details, like analyze the reel and just copy it with your own photos and your own videos. Like I was saying before, it's just the reels and the carousels are purely your way of displaying your own artwork. So don't feel like you're giving away your integrity or anything like that, because that's locked in within your photos when you're out there shooting. But the BTS, like just copy what has already worked. Go to our pages, see what we've done. Just copy that and it'd probably work.
I like it.
What do you reckon?
100%. I think go literally copy a video. Copy viral videos until you go viral your first time. For sure. Like you shouldn't be trying new things. You shouldn't be making your own version of stuff. I think that some creators can go down this path of like creating their own style and their own thing, and eventually they grow because they get found basically. But the funny thing is they spend all this time creating this new style that they could have created while copying other people. And then once they do create the style and they finally go viral, they're like locked into this style. And then everybody else copies that style. So now they're not even unique.
No.
And it's like, all right, bro, it's like you spent all this time making this new path that you could have created anyways. And then now you're just like everybody else anyways. So it's like, do you only post, like right now, do you only post just purely to go viral? Or do you post any other content that is like has another purpose behind it?
Yeah, I think like the game of social media is like if you're only posting to go viral, then that's all that's going to happen. You're just going to get people to come to your page. They're not really going to care about you or anything. And you want people to care about you if you're doing this as your job. So like I like to create different types of content. I've been posting mainly the viral content recently, but I know it's important to post more personable stuff. So like even just that's why I've been this new style of video I've been doing is on the iPhone 17 Pro. You can film POV like of what's happening in front of you, but you can also film your face. And I think that was lacking a bit of like my personality in the just POV videos. So like now you can see my face in it. People not only see the POV, they're also seeing the person behind it. And if you're wanting to build a proper personal brand to where you can sell people products and even coach people one-on-one, like they feel like they can trust you enough to be coached by you, you have to show them who you are online. So don't just post one. You got to have different content types. But I've definitely been lacking a little bit on the more personable side. But yeah, I'm figuring out a way I can do that. That's also interesting to people. That's something that I would say is a little bit I've been finding difficult recently. Do you have any tips for that?
Well, as far as like the being more personable,
personable content.
I think just even the talking is something that I was doing a little bit of before we hung out, and I've started doing more of it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't have that I should include more of is my face in the content. I wish I could. The way I do it is I'm like using my camera in my hand as like the, illustrator of the scene. But I still feel like even just hearing my voice in the video is building that trust and relationship. And then the selfies actually and the photos of myself as like the first photo in the carousel, I feel like also is building that like trust and personable like feel to the content. So for sure. The other thing I noticed that you do is the sort of the content that's directed more towards getting you sales for your product. And which is like the next thing that I kind of want to dive into, which is more of the money and business aspects. So this is a perfect segue. Talk a little bit about that content, because that can go viral, but that's not necessarily the purpose of that content. Like if it gets 50 million views, that doesn't really matter. You could still get the result that you're looking for with 100K views, 200K views. So
definitely. Yeah. It just goes back to like different intentions for each piece of content. Some are to make sales. Some are to just provide value to people for free. Like you're not asking for anything. Others are to build trust. So like in terms of sales, like there's this new format, which I've seen some other photographers do, which I've copied and I've applied my own twist to it, which is like this photo is edited. So it's like just a carousel where you say this photo is edited and it's the edited shot. And then the next thing is people swipe through, you're showing them the process of how you edited it. And then you end up with like a preset plug where you promote your Lightroom presets or whatever it is you're selling. If you're selling an editing course or whatever it is. So like, yeah, those pieces of content are more to sell. But I also know other photographers do it a different way where they're not directly selling on their Instagram page. They're bringing people to their email list and then selling through that. So there's definitely different ways to do it. But what I've noticed has brought in the best results of like preset sales, because that's what I mainly do at the moment, is doing a carousel and then at the last slide you do like a before and after and then a comment automation thing like comment preset and I'll send you my preset pack. But there's always new ways to do it. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that it's important to drive sales too, because like people need to know that you have a product. Like a lot of people, they want to buy something from you, even if like, and a lot of the times I tell this to people that are interested in buying my stuff or they don't want to buy it. It's like cool, like it's not a big deal to me, like you just supporting me watching my content. But if you want to support me further, even if you don't even care that much about the recipes, like the recipes, because to be honest, like anybody could go to Fuji X Weekly and go find recipes. It's not like my recipes are like the only way to shoot Fuji with like they're cool and I've developed my own recipes and I love them. But if you want to go find free recipes, you can go do it. If you want to find free presets, they can go do it.
Exactly right.
You know, and I have no problem with that. So like when people get a little bit mad, they're like, it's $20 for your recipes. I could go get them on Fuji X Weekly. I'm like, do it.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy for you if you want to go do that. This is how I make a living. This is how I go travel. This is how I go take more photos and develop more recipes and tweak the recipes, is by, being funded. And so, but in that sense, people need to know that you actually have something to sell. Otherwise, you're never going to make any money. So
No.
having some content, I think that one of the things that I'm playing with is how much I push the like the sales, more salesy posts.
Hmm.
Right now I'm probably doing it like one every 10, something like that. Maybe I could do more. I also just hired an ads team. We're kind of working through that stuff. So, um, but yeah, I don't want to be the person that's just like selling them every single post,
Hmm.
but I also want people to know, hey, this is what you can get. If you want to go buy them from me, if $20 saves you the time of clicking through a browser of
Yeah.
50 pages of Fuji recipes and testing a bunch, like, usually that's valuable for people. So that's why I tried to show them. For photographers that are kind of watching this, who are hobby photographers right now,
Hmm.
who are just starting out, what would be your recommendation for them to monetize photography right now? Like, their first step into like monetizing themselves, their photography, because I know you've monetized yourself multiple ways, not
Hmm.
just through digital products. You've done, event photography, you've gotten hired for things, you're currently, working with collabs and some other stuff. So what would be, like, for new hobby photographers that want to become more professional, what would be the first step that you would recommend for them getting into that?
The thing that I say to all new photographers or hobby photographers, the easiest way you can make money is through event photography. That is my opinion, because events are happening every single day. There is an event in your city, and most likely in this day and age of social media, even for the past 7, 8 years, they need a photographer to capture that. I've even got a YouTube video. I made it like 5 years ago. What you do is you go onto Facebook, you go onto events, and you find all the events. You can search events that are happening within your area this weekend. There might be like 50. Go and message all of them and say, hey, I'm a photographer. I was wondering if you already had a photographer organized. If not, I'm happy to come and shoot the event. This is my rate. You can do something cheap to start, $50 an hour. I did that.
Some photographers here would be like, cheap, $50 an hour? Like,
Yeah.
what? That's
Exactly. That's cheap. $50 an hour is
Yeah.
cheap for event photography. I've done that. I literally messaged, I think, like not even 10 of the events, and I got a job. I got 300 Australian dollars.
You currently do that, and I don't know if you want to talk about this a little bit, but because you're shooting with restaurants right now as well, a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's a side business that I've started.
And you also kind of just start DMing people.
That's actually, dude, I even forgot about that. So like, this is how like possible it is. Like, obviously, yeah, I've got 350K.
But you aren't even using that page,
No,
right?
no, I've got like my 7th.Era stuff, which is my street photography stuff. But me and my girlfriend started a completely brand new account. Didn't use like any of my following, nothing. It was zero. So like, if you're starting from zero, you can do this too. We made a Instagram account called Side Dish Studio. We thought it sounded cool for food photography, and we wanted to go to restaurants and take photos of restaurants and cafes and do food photography. And our goal, we set a goal to make 8,000 euros within 3 months. So this was 3 months ago. We literally started it. We had 0 clients, 0 followers, nothing. So we just, similar method, we went onto Instagram and we searched up all the restaurants within the Netherlands, within our area where we're living, and we just messaged them. I think in total we sent about 400 DMs, but we didn't have any content on the Instagram. So who's going to hire a photography team that has no photos on Instagram? So the first thing we did is we did a free shoot for a restaurant in our area to build our portfolio. So we got like 50 or 100 photos from that shoot, made a little feed, some photos of the drinks and all that stuff. And then we used that to pitch different packages, and we just made up the prices. We just go ChatGPT, what's a good price package for this? And we just started cold pitching out to different restaurants. And although we fell short of the 8,000 euro goal, we ended up making 5,000 euros before tax on the side, like completely on the side of our main businesses, just by doing this from scratch. So it's possible. You just have to do it.
Damn. That's sick, man. That is incredible.
Dude, yeah, anyone can do it. You
Yeah.
just message people.
Yeah.
That's it. We have
That's
the
crazy.
internet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even to this day and age, like to know that that could work like this, anyone could go out anywhere and just go DM someone with 0 followers. Like obviously probably go get some portfolio pieces and stuff
Yeah.
first, but to be able to do that is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Pretty insane. So that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's my advice to
Yeah.
hobbyist
I think
photographers.
that's a really good way to start is just DM people and just go out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You've done brand deals, you've sold presets, you've ran your event photography business, you've done this restaurant business, you've done all these sources of income. Which income stream was the most difficult to build, and which one was like the most scalable or the one that you feel like has the most potential?
I think definitely the most scalable one is the presets or just digital products in general, because you can it's the most scalable, but it takes the longest because you have to build an audience. If you're wanting to scale it, you have to spend years building an audience on social media to then which you can sell to. But it is the most scalable digital products. So it's also the most hardest as well, I'd say, because
Gotcha. Hardest and the most scalable. I mean, that kind of makes sense. A lot of the times that's kind of the case.
Yeah,
so.
because the easy ones like event photography or like, for example, this business I started on the side, it requires your time in exchange for money.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas digital products, you can make money whilst you're sleeping because it's all automated. And don't get me wrong, it's not all automated to the point where you just do nothing and it makes you money. You still have to work, but you're not exchanging your time directly for money. And if you can find something that does that, you can scale it.
What advice would you give someone that's, let's say they're starting to build their audience and they want to create a digital product like presets or recipes or whatever they're going to sell? What would be your piece of advice for them to kind of get started on that?
I would message anyone who's already following you and interacting with your work. Literally ask them like what their pain points are, like and I do this to this day. Like you can't just guess and make a product and hope that people will buy it. You need to figure out like what are people actually struggling with them and how can I help them? Because that's what any business does. It solves a problem for people. And you want to feel purposeful, like you're actually helping people. So like ask your followers what they're needing help with and then make a product around that. And then you'll probably get some sales from that. Yeah, that's what I'd say. What do you reckon?
My recommendation for guys starting out is to sell something for almost free. So when I first started out, I made my pack 99 cents, $1. But I also put it at pay what you want. So it was almost like a donation. They had to give me at least $1, but most people can part with $1, So what ended up happening, the cool part about this is I was surprised at how many people paid $15, $20, $25, $30 for the product. It's funny because back in the day, before I priced it at 20, which is what is my current pricing, I would actually get people who would pay more than 20 pretty regularly, like 30, 40, $50 sometimes for the packs. And I was like, that's crazy. Nowadays, because it's priced at 20, no one pays that much extra. They'll tip a couple bucks here and there, but for the most part, it's not. So, but my advice would be sell it at basically free, because the key part here is, and especially for your own motivation, is seeing those sales come through is so motivating versus if you just try to price it at $50 to start and you get 0 sales, you're very unmotivated to keep doing what you're doing. Whereas even if you're making $1, $10, $5 each day, it's like you're still seeing the money come in and you're still seeing the sales, and it's like, oh, okay, this works. And it confirms that people are willing to pay something for what you have. Because if people aren't willing to pay $1 for what you have, then that product is dumpster fire. You might as well move on from that product. But if they're willing to pay at least $1, then maybe they're willing to pay $5. Then maybe they're willing to pay 10. And this is what I did. I went from 1 to 5, 5 to 10, and then 10 to 20. That was my pricing. And I bumped it up each time because I was like, okay, I feel more confident in my product, in my brand, and who I am. And I think that's a good way to start.
Definitely. Yeah.
For sure. What's a mistake that photographers make when negotiating with brands or negotiating with companies or like a restaurant or something like that? What do you feel like is a mistake that someone new might make when they're trying to negotiate their deal?
Um, yeah, I think like when you're new and you're not getting heaps of brands coming to you. You'll kind of take anything that you can get. It's like that desperation. So you're probably gonna sell yourself short. And something that a lot of yeah, like I even didn't realize this until like a couple years ago was like being paid not only for your time to do the photography, but also the usage rights. Like that's something huge. So like, let's say you work with a brand, you're not just charging them like, let's say $1,000 for X job. You're charging them $1,000 for you to go and do the photography. But then you're also going to ask them like, how long are you going to use the photos for? What are you going to be using them for? And that sometimes that usage rights can be even more than the initial photo shoot that you've done. So like, I think that's something that a lot of beginner photographers might overlook and leaving some money on the table for sure. Upselling as well. Like, I was never taught business in photography. I'm still learning this as well. But, like, there are so many ways you can just make money purely by just asking some questions to your client. Like, that's what I did with the food photography business. We started with one client who we just said, "Do you want a photo shoot?" They were like, "Yeah." And then we're like, "Hey, by the way, we can also do 2 Instagram reels and then a carousel post for you." And like purely by like using some business skills, you can make some more money. So like learning business alongside photography if you're wanting to make money is crucial because you know a bit more of the business side of things, right? That's what you're a bit more specialized in as well.
Yeah, I honestly I hate the business side, but I ran my own business for a while online selling another digital product on Amazon. So I have a little bit more experience. I've also been surrounded by my other friend group is purely business people. Like that's all they eat, sleep, breathe is business. Like they don't care what business is. That's all they want to do. So I pick up a lot from them, which I think is important as well as just like, making sure that you surround yourself with people who are driven to like learn that stuff and whether it's like business friends or photography friends, making sure that that's part of it. But yeah, I definitely would agree with you. I'm a little bit more savvy on the digital product side than I am the brand deals and the negotiating contracts with like a company or something. But yeah, for sure. How have you gotten brand deals in the past? Like, did they mostly reach out to you? Was that kind of the way things worked, or did you end up reaching out to them? How'd you end up like solidifying the deals? Did you like set up contracts with them? What was kind of your process for when you did get brand deals with companies?
Mostly like I've tried different phases of my like online content career. I've tried like areas where there's been times where I've reached out to like 50 brands pitching myself through email. Like it takes hours and hours, but I've found that just like wasn't as successful, and maybe that was coming down to my own skills of pitching. But what I found the easiest way is to just post your own content and like go out and do your own thing, grow your account, and then the brands come to you. You like become a magnet because they see you're getting views, you're getting comments, engagement, and that's what they want. So like I find by just doing my own thing and then growing my own personal brand, other brands just come like flooding in. So that's like the easiest way I would say to do that. And another way you could do it is by getting a good manager. So someone who gets like 20% of all your brand collaborations, but you want someone who has industry connections. So they're getting jobs for you because of their connections. So
Gotcha.
they're kind of like the two different ways. Yeah.
Okay. So like kind of just being the magnet or like going out and finding someone who already has those connections and then leveraging that. That makes
Exactly
sense.
right.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. All right, let's get kind of back into I guess the mindset of photography and then we'll finish out with some Vietnam stuff. What do you feel like is something that you used to believe like in the past about being a good photographer, like that made someone a good photographer that you don't believe now?
Something that makes Someone a good
Yeah,
photographer.
you were like, oh, this is like something that is important to being a good photographer, and now you're like, oh, that doesn't really matter at all,
Um,
or it's less important.
it's a good question. I don't know if I've ever thought about it. I think like I've always just liked photos that it's like it's not like a analytical thing. It's something that I've felt. Like you look at a shot and you're like, oh, I like this photo. I don't always know why.
Maybe I phrase it a little differently. Like, what do you feel like you back in the day thought was important that you realize now, like for your own photography, like shooting photography,
Oh yeah.
being a photographer, that you're like, oh, back in the day you were like obsessed with it, or like you thought this was like the important thing, and then now you're like, oh, that doesn't actually matter at all.
I think this is something that a lot of photographers are going to relate to, and that's like having a lot of bokeh in your photos. So like, I was all about like, I know Sigma has this lens, the 105mm f1.4, and it is, don't get me wrong, it is a beast lens. That thing's amazing. But like, I would do street photography, and I'd be like isolating one subject, and everything was like these big bokeh balls behind them. Whereas now, I realize shooting at an aperture of like f8 is important, because then you're telling a story within the background. What's happening in the background of the frame? What's happening in the foreground? What's the subject doing? With 1.4, you just get a person and bokeh. There's no story there. So that's like a big thing that I would say. I think a lot of photographers, initially like that, right?
I think, yeah, especially in portrait photography for myself, like, bro, it was like, I remember when I got my first f1.2 85mm lens, and I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
I am now the best portrait photographer in the world.
Yeah.
I'm just like cranking it down to 1.2, whatever I had to do to get it to 1.2 every single time.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, you just see like, and sometimes the photos would be bad too, because I'd like their noses out of focus. Cause I'm like taking a photo so close up, and I'm like, and then you realize, dude, I almost, unless I have to, I shoot at f8.
It's literally the opposite
Yeah,
now.
my camera is stuck at f8 unless I have to drop it for light. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you start to realize that like, oh, like there's so much more in the scene, and like the blurred background, the blurred anything doesn't matter at all, at all.
No.
In fact, it's usually hurting your photo.
It's something that non-photographers think is important, like having a blurred background. Like on iPhone, they have the portrait mode. It's like, oh, I'm a photographer. Like, I'm taking a cool photo now.
Yep. Yeah.
So
cinematic mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel you. So then, what does, like, for you, what does success look like in photography for you? Like, what do you feel like is like you being successful as a photographer?
I think staying true to what it is that you like to photograph, that's a successful photographer. If you can be like, I'm taking photos of things that I love to photograph, and I'm somehow making a profit out of that, then I think that's success. Because if you're making heaps of money but you're shooting stuff you hate, I think you're not going to feel purposeful. And a way that I find purpose, because that's also super important, not just in photography but in life. If you want to feel purposeful, like you're doing something good in the world, doing these photo tours like Vietnam, that is a way that I've found meaning within photography, not just like posting to social media for the sake of getting followers, because that's just like, that is very shallow and gives you no purpose. So for me, well, that's been my experience with it. So I find purpose by knowing that all this is leading towards me giving other photographers an experience of going to a chaotic country and experiencing something that could potentially change their photography or even their lives. So that's what success looks like to me. What about you?
Yeah, I think full freedom to go out and shoot when I want, what I want. I think that is success in photography. I feel like, and no offense to other photographers that I'm probably trashing right now, but I feel like that photographers that do it purely for money, essentially, like if you're a corporate headshot photographer, I find it hard to believe that you are just ultra passionate about doing corporate headshots. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a photographer out there who's just
He
like,
loves it.
this has been my dream since I was a kid. But I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
And I feel like those people have lost their way in the photography space. And I think that obviously we need people to do that. I believe that that is now a job. It is your job. You are no longer a photographer in the sense of like going out to create art for the sake of like creating art. You are now just a slave to the system that you've built for yourself. And so if you're like full freedom to do whatever you want, like let's say if I handed you $1 million and then you went and chose to be a corporate headshot photographer, fair enough. I would then have faith in that, but I think most people at that point, like, they've turned it into a job instead of a passion. And so I think if I can, and I've had those moments in my photography career where I feel that way about like what I'm doing in the photography space, and it was the least fulfilled I felt while I was doing photography. And so I know for a fact that a lot of those photographers that are doing that aren't really hitting their true potential or doing the thing that they actually want to do.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that for sure.
Yeah. What's your long-term goal with photography? Like, as far as like, and maybe just in a more fun sense, like, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you actually want to photograph? Do you have like a goal monetarily as well? Like what you want to be making or how you want to be making it, or how much, how do you want to, like, what are kind of some of your goals as far as like how you want to leverage this?
So like purpose goals is like helping other people. Like I want to help other photographers get better at photography to the point where they can either do it full time or whatever it is that their goals are. I want to be like a mentor towards them. I also want to give people the experience, like I was saying, with the taking people in groups to Vietnam, India, crazy places, giving them life-changing experiences. That's what gives me purpose. Then like on the day-to-day, like monetary wise, my next goal is like finding a team, like finding people who can help me, because I'm one person. No huge business is run by one person. It's impossible. So like I'm still at that stage in my business where I'm doing everything. Like, and my girlfriend, she's helping me like edit reels here and there. And it's like, it's not sustainable if you're wanting to grow. So finding someone who can help on the business side of things, whether that's an ads person, whatever that may be, building out the team business wise. And then just a goal is just, I want to see the world and also photograph like really interesting places. So
where's the next place that you haven't gone yet that you're like, oh, this is top of my list, like this is the place I want to go next, that you haven't been?
That I haven't been, I think Nepal. I've seen like that place looks insane, like not insanely touristy, like especially like by photographers. I haven't seen many shots of it, but what I've seen, it looks like they still have that authentic culture and life where they're living inside out. Everything's on the streets. Like, I know we're going to Cuba in May.
I'm super excited for Cuba.
I feel like that's also like an untouched world of photography as well. So I'm super keen for that. But Nepal is like a place that's just like, it's up there. I can feel it pulling me slowly. How about you? Do you have a spot where you wanted to go?
So India is up there. And I would say that you've definitely influenced me in that sense. Like, I think India was lower on my radar before we kind of talked. It was still up there and I was still planning on going this year, but it's become kind of the only spot that I'm going to go next. I'm kind of planning around that trip instead of, before I was looking at Morocco and a couple other places. And now it's just like pretty much here and then India after that. So
sick.
I also really want to do a safari one day, like a really sick safari, just like in the fucking African like desert, just
giraffes,
like
sunsets.
Sahara,
Oh yeah.
Like I'm keen for that, but like that's further down on my list because it's a little more complex of a trip. I feel like
more planning.
So we'll see if I can get out there, but or
India.
Egypt as well.
Oh yeah, with the pyramids.
Yeah, there's this one photographer that I see that just posts bangers
I
all
think
the time.
he's like doing the hectic color grades from there.
Wild color grades.
Yeah, I've seen him.
But yeah, it makes makes me jealous to go there. But yeah, there's tons of places on my list. Iceland as well, like some other spots. I'm trying to hit a lot this year. And I think like the biggest thing for me is going to be like freedom on my like job life as well, just to be able to go do more of these trips. And because right now I do like 3 days of photography per week. And so it can, for me to go see a country fully, I usually spend a month, 2 months.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know we're probably close to finishing the podcast.
Yeah, we got Vietnam, which is what I want to talk about next, which I'm excited.
Am I able to ask you? I want to ask you a question before we move on to it. What gives you purpose within your photography?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. I think that I genuinely love, like the thing that makes me feel the absolute best is when I create a photo that just looks beautiful. And I can look at that photo and I can be like, wow. Like whatever it was, whether it's the scene, the colors, the lighting, all of those things, when I create that like one photo, and it's usually like 1 out of, 1,000 photos or 1 out of 10,000 photos, that I really feel like I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, like this is it. Like this is the one. I think that I search for that in my photography, just like from the actual photography side of things. But I think another thing that is very important to me is the connections that I make with other photographers and people. I think that if it was just me out there all the time by myself doing photography, it wouldn't be the same. I wouldn't have as much of a passion and a love for it as I do when I get to go out with someone who is just as passionate about it as me, who loves it just as much as me, and I get to go enjoy that shared experience with that person. I think there's almost nothing like it. Like when two people are together who have an extreme level of passion for a thing that they're doing, there's like this just flow state that you get into that is unmatched.
Yeah.
Unmatched. And people probably feel this when they're in, playing in the Super Bowl or the World Series, and they're playing, high level of sports with people who are at their level. And I feel like it's a similar experience when I get to go out with photographers who are, at that level, who love this as much as I do. And it's just incredible. There's nothing like it. And those two things combined, like, man, that's
awesome, man.
Top living. Like, why would you do anything else in life? If you could choose to do anything, why would you choose not to do something like that? Like, to me, that's
awesome,
experience.
Man. Yeah.
What about you?
What gives me purpose?
What gives you purpose?
Yeah, I think definitely there. I love that feeling of course, like being with other photographers. I think, yeah, right now it's like, giving people that experience. So like knowing that all this posting day to day, because like posting day to day to social media can feel like what am I doing? Like it can feel very just boring and not like disconnected from people. So like knowing that eventually all this stuff is helping other photographers, giving people the experience with the group tours, but eventually where I'm heading to this, once it like can build out a bit more of a team and get a bit more help, is to be able to either work on a one-on-one or a group coaching or something where I can see that I've helped other photographers get better, because I know that I'm getting better at photography. I'm shooting, I can see myself getting better, but purposeful wise, it's helping other people, being of service to others.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. See, when you get those messages from guys who are like, bro, like I just started on my photography journey and you've inspired me so much, and like, thank you. That must just like absolutely like make your day.
It does, but then I feel this instant like, fuck, like I want to help you, but I've got a million other things because I'm running everything by myself. You've got to realize
though, you already helped them.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Like the fact that you inspired them to start or to keep shooting or to go shoot more. My favorite is when someone messages me and they're like, bro, like I stopped doing photography 3 years ago. I stopped shooting. I haven't picked up a camera in 3 years. But like, bro, I started watching your content and I went out and finally I picked up my camera for the first time in 3 years and went out and shot again. Thank you so much. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like that type of inspiration, even if you haven't helped them technically, in a technical sense with their photography, which you have as well just through your content. But I think that the inspiration that you bring to people is incredible. And the fact that you're able to literally get people to either start photography, pick it back up again, become more inspired to shoot more often, to enjoy it again. Like, I think that's incredible. And I think you do it really well because I think your vibe and energy comes through your content really, really well.
Thanks, bro.
And it's very inspiring when you watch a piece of your content. Like, it's inspiring. You want to go shoot. You want to go take another banger, you know?
I'm happy. That's all I want, man. So I'm happy to hear that you
Awesome,
noticed that as well.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. I want to talk about Vietnam, though, because I know that, you know, you're going to be doing another trip at the end of this year. And I'm super pumped for it. I'm 100% coming out with you. It's going to be fucking awesome. We shot together in Vietnam. What do you think stood out to you about shooting in Vietnam compared to other countries that you've shot in?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about at the start of the podcast. Like, Vietnam has this culture that I haven't seen anywhere else in the world, and I haven't been to every country, so I'm sure it exists in other countries, but like, it's like people are living there. They're doing things, they're doing like old professions, like a lot of things in, like, for example, I live in the Netherlands. A lot of things are like factory run and everything's got a machine behind it or it's digital. In Vietnam, I think the main thing that was so cool to shoot was there was just so much happening. Like, we're at a fish market. You can photograph the people like bringing the fish off the boat, then washing them, and then there's like all these colorful crates stacked up and people between them that you can photograph. There's just so much more life happening on the streets. And also with Vietnam in focus, this is something that I've realized after the trip, that I it's like if you've ever flown like business class once, you never want to fly economy again, even though it's fucking expensive. And I've only flown economy since, but in Vietnam, we had the tour group which showed us around, and they took us to the best spots. So we didn't have to wake up and think about anything. All we had to do was like wake up at 4 a.m., half asleep, sit in this van, get taken to the best photo location, and then you can use all your energy to take photos. And I think that was like a big thing that I realized, like, like I have so much more energy now and creativity because I'm not having to plan my trip whilst I'm on it.
So then in that sense, like, there is a difference between kind of going out willy-nilly, just like finding the spots yourself, and then like being brought to the spots and kind of guided through that. It sounds like you would say you would prefer to be brought to the places and guided through it.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is the pros and cons to each of those?
So if you're getting the big con that I can see is if you're doing it with just a tour group that's taking you to touristy spots. So like,
or shit tour guide.
Yeah, or a shit tour guide. Yeah. So like,
did.
luckily we had the best fucking tour guide. But yeah, if you have a shit tour guide, then it's just going to be a shit vibe. Like, you want someone who's like one of the boys, you know, he's there. So yeah, getting taken to touristy locations. We got taken to like the opposite, like places that no one knows about. And I think you might miss the spontaneity of just traveling. But in that sense, we also did, like, it wasn't so structured. I feel like we were let out and we did run across these scenarios where we're eating with a family.
Yeah.
Celebrating their daughter's birthday on some random street in a random island.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think the main con I could think about would be the being brought to touristy locations.
Yeah.
What do
so
you
it's more
say?
like if the tour wasn't a good tour,
Yeah.
kind of fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a bad or too touristy of a tour.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, and I'd say that we had the contrasting when we had our first tour guide, who was incredible. And no offense to the other tour guide, but he just wasn't as in it as the other tour guide was, and we could feel that. And he wasn't a bad tour guide,
No.
but like you could feel the difference in vibe and energy in our group just between the two tour guides. So I think you can have that risk of you're like locked into something for your entire trip, and you could get set in a situation where it ends up not being ideal. So picking the right tour guide, picking the right tour group, the tour company, I think, yeah, very important. Whereas if you just go shoot around with the boys,
Yeah.
like, you're going to find something to shoot. You're going to have somewhat of a good time. So I guess it'd be like a little, there is a small risk of just disaster with the tour guide side of things.
Yeah, you want to have a good one. And also, like, yeah, having a proper tour group, and also the van that we had. Like, I wasn't expecting that van to be that
like
nice.
VIP.
Yeah.
VIP.
When I
felt
stepped
like I was
into
in
it.
a limo.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So what do you feel like was your favorite photo that you got from Vietnam?
I think it's in terms, I've kind of got like in different categories. If I'm to nail it down to one, it's got to be, there's this shot I took of one of the guys. It's a photo of this older guy, and he's like kind of leaning over his chair, and I think he's like got a toothpick in his mouth, and there's like in the foreground of the shot, there's like a bit of a scooter with an orange headlight, and in the background there's all these other older guys smoking and stuff. I think that one is one of my favorites because of the colors. The lighting was really soft, and also it's got a human in it. There's that human connection. But then another shot I really liked was the reflection shot of the Infinity Beach with the fishermen walking into the sunrise. That was
that was my favorite.
Is that your
sure.
favorite shot you got?
Yeah, the that one and the black and white shot of the fisherman guy who was actually there as well. I really enjoyed both of those shots. Yeah, it was honestly that beach was incredible.
Yeah,
that experience was incredible. That was like peak life. We're all just like sliding through the mud, like walking to this like beach, and it's like pitch black. We can't see anything. We're like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
What is this? And then the sun just starts coming up, and it's just like,
oh my god,
guys,
yeah.
what is this? And then the most incredible subjects that we got to shoot. I was just like, oh my god, like,
yeah,
everything lined up. And I think that was really cool about that trip, is just like, it felt like everything was just so planned, properly put together. It felt smooth. Like, I never worried about anything.
Yeah.
And the whole time, and because of that, like, I agree, like, my photography was better. My ability to just focus on the photos, on focusing on what I was doing in the moment, instead of having to focus on, oh, Google Maps, where are we going next?
Mm-hmm.
Which train are we taking? Like, which place are we going? But do we need to grab gas for the motorcycles? Like, you know, what do we got to do? You know. So yeah, I think it was really cool in that sense. Tell us a little bit about your photo tour that's coming up, because I think that, first of all, to anyone that hasn't done this with you, it's the most incredible experience that I've personally had as a photographer. Like, and it's not even in the same realm. It's like on a different level. It's like all my photography experiences, and then like Vietnam with you. So talk a little bit about it. What is the experience? When is it? Like, what's kind of going on? How many spots are there? Because I know you guys are limiting it pretty hard, so it's not like a massive group.
Well, first of all, happy to hear that it was ranked so highly. I mean, yeah, for me as well, man. It was insane. Like, I almost had like a come down from like after the trip. I was like, no, I don't want this to end. Like, this is insane. So spots are limited to 6 people because we're going to like remote villages where there's no people. And if you rock up with a group of 20 photographers, you're not going to capture those raw moments, and it's going to ruin like the authenticity of what's happening there. So if we sell out the 6 people, which is highly likely,
I mean, me and Gaer, we got 3 already. There's only 3 spots.
Exactly.
Little did they know.
It's going to sell out pretty much instantly. So what we're going to do is also potentially do another trip 2 weeks after.
Sick.
So there'll be about 10 spots available. It's the reason why it's so good is because we don't go to touristy spots. We're going to photo locations that are pretty much unseen by other photographers, as well as some of the more classic spots that you're just going to get banger shots. It's hard to describe on a podcast how good the trip is without sounding like you're just promoting it to the max. Like, I don't know, like how do you describe it? Like, you know, it's a challenge because every day was full of like, all you have to do is you wake up, you go to a photo location, you have an amazing lunch, then you go to another photo location, and it's a full day of being around other like-minded people and getting banger photos.
Yeah, I think that's what made the trip so special is It was raw, it was authentic, like majority of spots. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not like every spot wasn't set up. There was like maybe one or two spots where we had a little bit of like a setup going,
Definitely.
but like 90% of it was raw. You're out in some village, literally just taking photos of people living their daily life.
Mm-hmm.
So it was super raw, super authentic. You just felt like you were actually in these, like this experience. You were actually experiencing someone's culture, which was an incredible culture to experience. The Vietnamese people are the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. The most friendly, the most open, the most happy. I've never seen like us, and to be fair, it's partially because of 7 foot tall Gayer walks into a room and like the whole village comes out to see him. They're like,
oh
what's
my
this
God.
giant Norwegian man doing in our village?
The
Like,
god has returned.
and so, but they were so happy to see us. They would just yell. Like we'd walk into an area, they'd be like, "Oh my God, hi."
Westerners are here, yeah.
And it was just so cool and so welcoming and so enjoyable to be in that culture and experience that. And then to experience that with three other people, because our tour guide was an incredible photographer as well. To experience that with the three of us, or the four of us, all loving the entire experience. Like all of us were just obsessed. Like we're just in the zone doing photography, talking content strategies, going around meeting people, talking to the village, like to the people in the villages, like actually like interacting with what was going on. And even our tour guide was like, man, like pretty much no groups get this type of experience because of how we were in that trip. And I will say, I will credit you a lot. Like you have incredible energy and you're an incredible person to just hang out with, and you're just fun all the time. Like you're just always smiling, talking shit, having fun.
Thanks, bro.
And it makes it really easy to get into that sort of vibe and that flow state. And I think for anyone that hasn't experienced that, or you've just been in your own little city, whatever, doing your own thing, like it will change your life. And it will not only change your life and through that experience, but it'll also change your path in social media as well. Because look at Gayer, he just hit his first multi-million view video.
Yeah, to give people context, Gayer's the other guy.
Yeah, Gayer was the third guy that was with us, and he was definitely way less experienced than you and I. Like in the term, he's a great photographer, phenomenal photographer, way less experienced in terms of like growing on social media. And day one, I think we all did a video together. He got his first like viral video. Like day one, we were in a little village because we came up with this like little fun idea, which is cool because you get to like collaborate with the other photographers and create content together and like come up with ideas together and spitball, and like there's no other experience like it. And I think that for anyone that is on the fence about doing this trip, like it should be like sell my house to go to this trip. Like take out the second mortgage, because it will not only make you a better photographer, make you a better person, but also grow your brand, help you make more money, help you actually be able to go be a photographer full time if that's what you want to be.
100%, yeah. So happy to hear that you enjoyed it so much. And yeah, like that's the perfect way to describe it, because even me, like as the host, being around other photographers, and the energy is just, you can't get it anywhere else. Like the combination of everything, being in a amazing country for photography, yeah, it's life changing. And as you can see already, like Gayer, he was on I think like 100 and something followers on his social media, and he was posting like, I think he posted 3 times. And now he had a video recently.
What did we do day one that he was there? What did we force him to do?
We told him, we're like, bro, you post to Instagram. You need to post twice a day. And he has. To be fair, this is what I love about Gayer. I hate when I tell someone, I give them good advice and they don't listen to it. I'm like, I've wasted my time. But we told Gayer, we're like, bro, post twice a day and see what happens. And now he's almost on 3,000 followers within a month.
Mm-hmm.
Within 1 month. Imagine what you can do in a year. So yeah. So if you're thinking about coming to the trip, yeah, I think you should do it.
So yeah, I mean I can't say enough good things about it. It was a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 experience. And I'm excited for next year. I'm excited to do more of these, help you out in any way I can. I guess let's wrap it up. Unless do you have anything else you want to talk about the trip or any other information you want to give guys? As far as like the trip.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to come to the trip, just either shoot me a DM on Instagram.
And I mean, that leads into it. How can they contact you? What's
Yeah.
the best way to reach out? What's the best way to sign up?
You can either, I think the best way to sign up is to go onto my Instagram at 7th.Era, and you'll see information on how you can sign up. Either if there's no information at the time of you searching it up, just shoot me a DM, and we'll give you the proper information if it's not sold out by then already.
I hope it's sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be sold out very, very quickly. I can't imagine it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. And then for any people that are still sad shooting Sony, they can get your presets as well there on the
Sad
link.
shooting Sony.
Some link right here that's like sad people shooting Sony.
Mate, happy people shooting Sony, getting bangers with the raw
Obviously,
photos.
Sony's great cameras. But presets are on your site.
Presets. I've got an editing course
As well. Cool.
editing course for Lightroom, just for beginners.
Awesome, man.
And how about you? What do you got going on?
That's my recipes. Just the Fuji
Yeah.
recipes. Yeah, they're great. If you guys want some Fuji recipes, click the link. We're gonna have all the links somewhere here
Somewhere.
in these areas.
You'll find
up here, down here.
Yeah.
Let's just make them all like just
Popping
clouds
up
of screen.
everywhere.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks, bro.
Signing off.